In this video tutorial, we're going to go through configuring the view and setup on the mapping system of vehicle and personnel based monitoring devices. This includes devices like the Spot, the InReach, the Spot Trace and the Vehicle Monitoring Smart 1. My name's Chris Glanville and I'm the Systems Engineer at Station Innovation, and we've been working on these products for more than 15 years. So we're going to go through some of the views and configurations to help you get the view, the information that you're looking for right away when you log in. To begin, go and open a browser, any browser, and go to www.stationinnovation.com.au or www.ecosat.com.au. Log in with your username and password, and the first screen you'll be presented with is what we like to call your Census Summary. It's a list of all of your active devices that are feeding information to the EcoSAT online system. Here I've got a couple of live devices, and then the last one in the list is what we've called a Kenworth truck. Perhaps you've got a Smart 1 or a vehicle tracking device on one of your assets driving out and around about the place. We're going to go through looking at that on the map. So to begin, we just want to check some of the configuration parameters, particularly with the view of the mapping system. So click on the device that you'd like to configure, and then the last option on this little pop-up says that the sensor input history is that it's currently active, and that's for this particular device has optional extras for rollover sensors, panic buttons, things like that. If you click on that last option, it takes you to the device configuration view. Now you can also get here by going to devices from the menu toolbar up top. Now once we click that, it automatically loads the account that it's assigned to and the device. Now what you want to do is you want to come down here and look at the map and location settings. Now in here we can say that the display history is disabled. Now what that means is that it will not show you where it was at any point in the past. It'll only show you its current location or the last known location. So here, if I wanted to look into the history of the location of this device, let's say across the last week, then I'd set this drop down box to 1 week. In some cases, the reason that we give you this option to disable it is because on take monitoring or fixed location asset devices, they don't move, and so when you get the last month's worth of position locations, you end up with a whole lot of points all just in and around each other, and it clutters up your map. If the device doesn't move or go anywhere, there's no real need for this, and you just leave it disabled. In this example, this is a vehicle and it is on the move, and we want to see where it's been up to the last week by default. So likewise, we can tick this box, show the history points. Now we just need to save that, and that'll automatically save and reload. Now another good thing to check is to go to your account settings, and in your account settings you've got a section dedicated to the map and configuration view. Now in here you've got your zoom level, and you've got your center point, and you've got your map type. They're the main ones that we'll go through. So the zoom level is when I first load the map, should I be out nice and wide and I can look at all my devices, or maybe I just like a nice big view of Australia or the state, then I can set my zoom level. Now the higher the number, the greater the zoom. So let's set it to something like say 14, so that I've got a bit of a view of what's around the area, but not looking at the whole state or the whole country. The map type. Now you've got terrain maps, which obviously they're a bit of a mix between a road map and a satellite view. And then obviously you've got the actual map, which is just a road map that doesn't show any land features, and satellite. So in this case, let's choose the default map is satellite. Now what I can do is per device, when I say I choose to look at my truck, I can later on I can say when I look at my truck, I want to look at it at this zoom level, and I want to look at it on this map type. What I'm setting here is when I don't choose to look at a device, I just click on the map link, like this generic link down here, the map link. I'm not saying I want to look at a specific device, I just want to go to the map. It chooses these defaults. We'll go through a per device default in just a moment. Now the last option is the midpoint, is the center option. Now here I can say as a GPS midpoint, that's where I would like my map to load. So again, when I'm not saying I didn't click on a link that says take me to that exact device, I just clicked on a map link, then it will load whatever I've set in here. Now if you've got say a lot of devices all around your property, a midpoint probably makes sense. It just centers the map on the GPS average of all those locations. But in this case we're monitoring a truck, and that truck could end up thousands of kilometers off my property. Now if I choose a midpoint between the devices on my property and this truck, I'll end up in the middle of nowhere. So what I'm going to do is, in this example, I'm just going to say, just take me to the center of the truck, Kenworth. And we just save those options. And when it reloads, you can see that's all stayed the same. Now, the generic links include this map here, this map link here, or alternatively, if we look at our dashboard, this map here. But if I choose to look at a specific device, like this for example called 648, and I click on this link, I'm saying no longer do I want to look at my map generically, I actually want to look at my map where this device is. Now just to show that our settings previously have actually taken, what I'll do is I'll go to the map on a generic link. I'm not asking to look at a specific device, I'm asking specifically to load my account settings, whatever they may be. And you can see straight away it's taken me to a zoom of 14, I'm looking at a satellite view, and I'm looking at the location here of where that truck is. If we just contrast that for a moment, if I go to the summary and I say, "I'll show me where this device is," so now I'm saying I specifically would like to look at the map where 648 is located. Now you can see it loads the map, and as soon as that loads up, it'll take me over to a different device in a different location, a completely separate location altogether. So it just depends what you've asked. It's trying to guess when you click on the link, which link you clicked, and what it is you were looking for at the time. If we choose devices and we go to Kenworth, it goes back to that default map view of 14, satellite view, and it's centered over to Kenworth, of course. So if we wanted to quickly jump from device to device, you just click your devices link and they're all there. Now let's say, I was saying before that you can choose a per device default. Let's say for example we look at 648 and we zoom right in, and I'm going to change the map type here to a map view, and this one, let's say 648. Now if I click on this little eye symbol, what that'll do, and it says in the pop-up, click here to save the view over this device. So I'm saying when I look at 648, I want to be zoomed right in and I want to be on a map view. So if we just click and save that, and it'll reload my map. Now you can see this is just a generic map access. It's going to load me to my default, which is centered over the Kenworth truck. It's a map view of 14 and it's satellite. Now comes the interesting bit. When I click 648, it changes the zoom level, it changes the map type, and it changes where the center of the map is. So I could go back to well, these devices are located right next to each other, but just as an interest's sake, let's zoom right out and we'll change the map view to terrain just for something different, and we'll click save. So now there's a difference between when I load the map generically, I look at the Kenworth because that's what my account settings say, and that's what it's done right now. When I choose 649, I get the previous view. You can see it's a terrain based map, and I'm zoomed right out. And if I say I want to look at 648, it zooms right in and it changes the map view to a street map. So that's how you go about setting it generically. When I just click a generic link, what I'd like to do by default, you can then choose an on device basis by clicking on the eye. Now let's just go back quickly and show you one last thing about the vehicle tracking, where this comes in handy quite specifically. Is this last icon here, you can actually turn on or off the history traces, and you can see already this truck's obviously been parked in this location for quite some time, that there are a lot of points cluttering up my map. Now here it's a road map, so you can't really see much detail, but let's say it's a satellite map. Then you can see, okay, I want to see this area underneath the map, but it's being cluttered by all of these points. Then what you do is if you click this line, this trace, and if the pop-up says click to turn on and off the history trace for this device. So all it's doing is it's not turning it off forever, it's just turning it off so that you can see what's in the area and what's on the map underneath that location. If I want to turn it on again, just go to the pop-up and just click it again. Of course, each of these points is associated with a push pin, and if we go to the previous push pin down here, you can actually see the location. So the Kenworth device was in this location on Wednesday the 30th of November at 5:55. So that's it. So that's how we've got default map settings are set on your accounts configuration page. You can set history location settings on the devices configuration page, and then within the map you can configure the view by using the eye and the turning off the history traces. Now this is, as I said before, this is not saved. So this history trace, if I click here, it only turns it off momentarily while I look at the map. If I reload it, it will come back. If I want to change that as a permanent setting for that device, I go to the device's configuration, and as we saw in the beginning, I change these settings here. And that's all. If there's anything that's not quite clear in this tutorial, or anything you'd like clarification on, or even more, if you'd like a feature added that you think would be really useful, you can send an email to support@ecosat.com.au. I hope you find it really helpful.